Good evening, everyone. Today is Thursday, July 13th, 2023. The time now is 7:05 p.m. Today, we are in Kapalama Hale, room 153, located at 925 Dillingham Boulevard, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96817. This is the Aliamanu Salt Lake Foster Village Airport Neighborhood Board, number 18, and we'll call the meeting to order. So we'll have, before we go into our roll call, just as a reminder to our board, a quorum of board members must be visible online, except when full visibility cannot be restored after connection problems. And this is something that we will not be needing tonight because we are all here present, and most of the quorum is present in the room. Rules of speaking: anyone wishing to speak is asked to raise their hand by the chair when recognized by the chair to address comments to the chair. Speakers are encouraged to keep their comments under 1 minute. Those giving reports are encouraged to summarize remarks under 3 minutes. Those of you who are joining us on WebEx, we are disabling the hearing function on the TV because of an echo. If there is something that you would like to ask, or if you'd like to be recognized, please use raise your hand feature in the Zoom meeting, or excuse me, the WebEx meeting.
It says reactions.
Under reactions, thank you, Vice Chair Moore. Please kokua silence all electronic devices, show respect for speakers and others in the community. Presenters should be prepared to present when called upon. During the virtual WebEx meeting, please mute your device and unmute when you're requesting to speak. Any action may be taken on any agenda item as required by the state sunshine law. Specific issues not noted on this agenda cannot be voted on unless added to the agenda. Our previous oral testimony rules where board members must keep their comments under 1 minute per turn. Board members may not speak a second time until all members were given a chance to speak. At the conclusion of the board comment period, audience will be given the opportunity to comment. This is subject to change according to our line item where we will adopt the oral testimony rules. All right. May I have roll call of the board?
Okay, so let's see, roll call. So is member Christina Young Chong here?
Young Chong.
Young Chong, present. Member Gower is here. Member Godfrey
Here.
Member Nicole, not here. Member Kanemaru.
Here.
Member Omura. Member Shigemasa.
Present.
And member Yomes. Okay. Member Baird is not
Beard
here.
is on his way.
Okay.
He's just not here yet.
Okay, and member Hind is not here at the moment.
To the church.
Okay.
All right, so we've established that there are 7 members present, which means that we do have a quorum. I'd like to welcome, first of all, I'd like to welcome this board. We are the newly elected board of the 2023-2025 board. So give yourselves a round of applause. And welcome to the neighborhood board for this term. We'll jump into item number 2, which is our board officer elections. This is to serve for 1 year, starting from July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. And this is described in our neighborhood plan in section 2-14-120B. Officers to be elected will be chair. 1 or more vice chairs may be appointed, a secretary, a treasurer, and any other officers determined to be needed to conduct the business of the board. At this time, I'd like to open up nominations.
Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
At the training session, or the installation session, I brought up the question to the entire neighborhood board system about creating a new post called the Sergeant at Arms to keep track of time of speakers that were speaking, and they said, and Thomas was the MC, said that we are to go to our own boards and we will decide. So I want to know put that into position as a new position that has not been on the board. And that Sergeant at Arms will be keeping time of the speakers so that we maintain control of it.
That would be up to the new chair.
Right.
Yeah.
To put it on the.
At this time, the positions that we're electing are chair, one or more vice chairs, secretary and treasurer, and any other officers determined to be needed to conduct the board's business. If a sergeant at arms is requested after we've elected these positions, we can also take a motion to create that position if needed. All right. So I'd like to open up nominations from the floor for the office of the chair. Mr. Young, followed by Ms. Kanimar.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a brief background before I make my nomination. I had experience as chair for a few terms, present chair had a couple of terms. I think Mr. Baird had a term. In the audience, Mr. Lee, chair for a term as well. So, round of experiences as being the chair to run a meeting, get that experience. So kind of helped me. But with that said, I want to bring up that the neighborhood board was established in 1974. Next year will be 50 years. And during that period, neighborhood board 18, I moved to Aliamanu, Salt Lake in 1976. And throughout the years, that I can remember, there was never a female chair. And at this time, I kind of want to see if the board's voting and everything, have a female as a chair and a vice chair female as well. It's the first time we have 4 females on the board, never had that before, as far as I can remember. So they almost have the majority, one short of that, but we have some qualified female candidates on board. With that said, I wanted to at this time, I know Chandler, she would have been the first, but she turned it down a couple times during my thing, but Chandler, do you want to accept the nomination? I nominate her for the chair.
Thank you for the nomination, but I didn't like your comments.
Well,
I have this floor now, right? Well, I'm glad that you feel that way too. We do have some strong women on this board. However, for continuity's sake of what we've been working on as far as projects, I'd like to nominate Jake Yamasa for chair, and I'll do my vice chair already with David Yomes and Joe Omura as first and second vice chairs.
I like
I-
it. I'm,
I'd like to
Okay.
speak.
Are you
I
at a couple of comments?
definitely appreciate the board's trust in me over the last 6 years as your chair. I believe we've accomplished a lot. But I want to share with the board that in the last few weeks, I have accepted a position in the mainland. And I'll be moving with my company. And so I love our neighborhood. I love Salt Lake with all of my heart. And I'm sad to leave our board and everything that we're fighting for. And I think we've accomplished a lot in these last years with the partnership with our appointed and elected officials, and really working with them down to board member Yomes in the homeless trenches, working with them and, working with our city on Ampol and making sure that we fund our projects. And, this is something that I would regretfully have to decline. And I would suggest that potentially we do elect another member as the chair to have that continuity. And hopefully a member who, either was previous chair, or it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to hold decorum in our meetings, and to be the voice of the community to all the different groups. And so I unfortunately would decline. Mr. Omar.
Yeah, I was thinking about the ladies too in the place, and I was thinking about Nicole Hine. And,
You would have to be present
but she has to be present.
to accept the nomination, according to our new rule. Unless she gave written consent. Mr. Youngs.
Nominate Maureen Godfrey. She has some experience prior to starting this board. She was on the board years ago with me. Like to nominate her, and hopefully she accepts it, or she picks the female ones.
I second.
Yeah,
Ms. Godfrey.
I nominate James
for what?
for president.
We nominated you, so.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah, but except for, that's.
Oh,
that's-
More than one person nominate?
Yeah.
No, first, and then we're gonna ask you.
Do you accept the nomination?
No.
Now you nominated James.
Now I nominate James.
Ms. Godfrey.
I'll
Nominate James Gower as our
I'll
chair.
second that.
Is there a second? Okay,
Did he accept it?
did you, well, did you accept the nomination?
I feel we should let Nicole and show our young
No, I-
first.
I think she's gonna be good.
I mean, I'll be probably moving away from the board in September. If it's the will of the board, you want me to continue as chair until that time, I'd be happy to, but I didn't want to have the board have to go through another reorg and be in the same position in 3 months. And so that's why I felt that it's important that you all were aware of this, but I mean, if we want to make sure other members are present at a future meeting, I know this is a big news. Maybe, Mr. Barrett is joining and I texted Ms. Hine. But it's, everybody nominated declined.
What you get?
I nominate David. As president, but good president, so I nominate you.
I second the motion.
Okay, so I want,
And I want.
so maybe we need chair the position, I mean, Jason the position now, and then
And then-
hopefully Hein accepts it. If not, then we can deal with that later.
Okay.
In favor of that.
So board member Yomes nominated myself. I'll accept with that condition. And I guess, are there any objections from the floor? Okay, hearing no objections. Thank you.
Where's the fourth person?
He was thinking of
Just talking to Larry, she's trying to get Larry and,
He's coming.
okay.
He was saying so all left.
Elected.
Apologize.
So nominated by, so there's a few things, I think you probably get on the recording, yeah.
Okay.
But there are a few nominations and a lot of declines, and then
Okay.
it came back to Yomes nominated myself for chair.
Okay, so we're doing,
No objection.
okay, no objection, so it's gonna be chair.
Okay, we'd now like to open the floor for nominations of the office of vice chair. Ms. Honeyman.
As I stated earlier, I nominate first vice chair David and second vice chair Joe.
Can you take it both at one time? Has to be so.
There's no objections.
Any objection?
And
Or do you accept the nomination?
I have to decline. Because I am too busy stuffing stress. Dave?
Yeah, you see it at McDonald's every night.
Retired.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
you there.
I see you there. Get few.
Oh, shit.
Chair, I'm gonna find out so I can be the fourth vice chair. Anyway, with that said, let's keep everything intact. If
Yeah.
that's, I'm gonna make that motion. That the vice chair stays intact until we nominate another chair upon you leaving with this board. And we have that election at that time. Celebrate.
okay, so you guys are, so you're already elected. Okay,
Already got elected.
all right, and then
I make a
the,
nomination to elect him as vice chair then.
but he declined.
You can decline.
Okay, so,
So.
and you were nominated for first chair, vice chair as well. Member Yomes. Okay,
Okay, so the members declined, the floor is still open for the office of vice chair. Or, board member Omar.
James, Dollar.
I said,
James, do you accept the nomination?
You don't do that much until if the fairness is still up, then you just move up.
Like vice president.
Yeah.
so basically if chair is not available to do the meeting, then you can do the meeting. And then, of course, you would have your NA to assist you with everything as well. Okay.
Any objections, to the nomination of Mr. Gower for vice chair? Hearing none. Okay, Mr. Gower is elected. Okay. For the office of secretary, we're now opening the floor for nominations. Office of secretary. Are there any nominations?
I nominate
Scott Reed.
Chandra.
I second that.
Sandra, do you accept?
Yes,
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Are there any objections to Ms. Kanemaru as for the office of secretary? Hearing no objections. Thank you, Madam Secretary. You are elected. For the office of treasurer. The office of treasurer, we are now opening the floor for nomination.
Before we bring up the nominations, at our general installation meeting, I brought up the point as well that because there's no record of monies, it seems the treasurer's position was a total waste this year, and you folks didn't really give me a satisfactory answer.
Okay, so in regards to treasurer, when it comes to a board, the it's the law that we have to have a treasurer, whether we're gonna give you future responsibilities. That can happen because we're not sure how we're right now in regards to the money that we had before, it was just the postage, but now by law, we have to actually provide postage monies for the mail outs and everything like that. So there might be opportunities in the future where a treasurer will be responsible for some kind of money, such as I'm not sure if Thomas has talked to you about the $1,000 that you guys can use for outreach. That's something, oh, okay. So the board has $1,000 to do outreach. Okay. So the board has $1,000 to do outreach, and that includes like beautifying like your environment, such as schools, repainting sidewalks, things like that, where we will provide correct. It would be like community service where we'll provide like paint, all the, yeah, for that, for all the costs. So we would get like maybe like a quote from what you guys would need to do a project. Maybe like, so for example, we had the Waikiki board did the Genki balls. In order to get all the materials, they used their $1,000 to use for that outreach to get all the materials so that the board can come and do outreach that way and then throw the Genki balls into the outline. So that's one example. Also, doing murals around in your environment as well with the painting. And so it's a matter of collaboration. And in the past, at my other boards that I do manage, the treasurer kind of does, sometimes they can do the legwork with assistance of the other board to see any kind of suggestions that can be done. So, yes,
Thank you for that clarification.
sure,
Yeah.
anytime.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate
Sure.
At this time, may I have the floor then?
Yeah.
I would like to nominate Ms. Lou Godfrey for treasurer.
Ms. Godfrey, do you accept the nomination?
I said,
Are there any other nominations from the floor? Okay, your nominations are closed. Any objection to Ms. Godfrey? No objection?
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Treasurer. All right, this is, this is the portion where we can elect any other officer determined to be needed by the board's business, and I do want to take Mr. Amora's suggestion into consideration, and I'd like to open up the floor for nominations for the office of Sergeant at Arms. Are there any nominations? Mr. Gower.
Christina?
Christina Ayunchang for the office of Sergeant at Arms. Do you accept the
Any
nomination?
second?
Accept. Are there any other nominations from the floor?
Also, I just wanted to clarify that the sergeant at arms is going to basically the timer for the speeches, I mean, for the talk that people do. So it's like a timekeeper. I'm in Toastmasters and we do, I don't know if you folks have ever been in Toastmasters, where there's a timer actually for everybody that talks. And you give up cards like green card when you,
Oh.
you know, like if you have only 1 minute to
So we
something.
have s- not
Right.
the paper thing that
That,
did.
yeah.
We could also use a phone for a timer too.
Yeah, no, well, that's what I
Or
was
like,
doing. 'Cause
yeah.
I was doing.
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Terry, I did the timing.
Okay,
But the thing is, it doesn't always adhere. So with, with a full capacity sergeant of arms,
Right.
will enable that person to really take care of the timing. per
Okay.
se, And then it has to get established. Everybody knows what the system is. So if it's just going to be a sound timer, light, Chase, you tried all kinds of things too. But that paper thing that you did, Joe. Because I was doing the paper thing and it was like flags. Everybody was listening.
sorry, Chair, point of order. Was there a second on the Sergeant at Arms?
I'll second.
Okay,
Mr. Nat,
Okay.
Chair.
Mr. Gower.
Just wanted to add, recently, I was at the installation ceremony last month. Sat by, fellow member Christina, and she did, raise a point, I think several times when there was a decorum in the room. And, Christina wanted orders, she stepped up. She even tried to attempt to ask the neighborhood board team to, like, do something, call the gavel. It seemed like people's names are being called, but there was much attention being paid. She first went up to, yes, be the sergeant at arms, so to speak. But, I'm sure she can do it in a graceful way, respectful way, of course.
Mhm.
Whoever the speaker is at the time, she can come up with something. From this stuff we can support.
The Sergeant at Arms would definitely be a partner to the chair. The chair would have the control of the meeting, but the Sergeant at Arms would be the timekeeper. Mr. Youngs.
Chair, we entertaining the timer or we entertaining when we start, we already done the second.
What
That's
nominations
the timer.
nominations have not closed yet. Are there any other nominations for the Sergeant at Arms?
Did we get sworn in? There's people that's in this meeting right now that did not show up July 1st.
yeah, so what we'll do is, because we're doing all the positions first, positions first,
Sworn in before meetings even started.
it's an option, actually. It can be done after all the officers are done, or it can be done, if we can do it afterwards. But it's based upon the agenda, so can be done.
Yeah, we'll elect officers and then we'll recess.
And then we can do that.
Okay, any other nominations for the office of Sergeant at Arms? Okay, hearing none. Then we're in discussion, Mr. Youngs.
I just had an issue with the timer that should everybody treated equally, 1 minute or 3 minutes, but discretion of the chair. We have some hot topics the chair should entertain when he or she can add the time to that person's testimony.
I agree. I think that's why, I did make that comment that the chair does control the meeting. So the chair as the presiding officer would, with the assistance of the Sergeant at Arms, but would still be able to control the meeting and allow members, where it's a hot topic, to speak.
Also on that topic of what we're something, as far as order in the meeting as well. I truly feel that through the observations of past meetings, that parliamentary procedures are not being followed. The Robert Rules of Order is what we conduct meetings by. So either the Sergeant of Arms is needs to be first in that as well, we have a NA, but the thing is, the NA is doing so many things at the same time too, and unless we do a question, the NA, basically is doing the reporting. So therefore, I don't know if we need a parliamentary procedures, operative historian, which might be separate from the sergeant bar, someone who knows the rules. Back and forth.
Also, I was thinking also that the sergeant of arms should be sitting by the president so that, remember, so that way if the sergeant at arms feels that, the person's talking along the first person before he says or she says anything, have the chair time. And then the chair will say, he'll say, okay, whatever. And then start so excuse me, please complete what you're gonna say in the time limit, etc. And also you get warning, right? Kind of thing, so.
Any other discussion, board? Hearing none. Are there any objections to the election of Miss Christina Ayung as our Sergeant at Arms? Hearing no objection. All right. I don't believe there are any other positions to fill at this time. We'll move on to our next item, but before we do so, I'd like to recess subject to the call of the chair so we can be sworn in.
Also, you guys have all of the certificates or whatever.
We do. I will make sure that you guys get it.
Yeah, because the last installation, because I wasn't signed up for it.
Right.
And there wasn't one before.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So everybody raise your right hand. For the oath of office.
Even the ones that was there?
You don't have to. If you were there, you don't have to because you're already sworn in. So, I solemnly swear
Solemnly swear.
that I will faithfully support
Faithfully support
the Constitution and the laws
the Constitution and the laws
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America.
the Constitution and laws
Constitution and laws
of the State of Hawaii,
of the State of Hawaii.
the Charter and laws
Charter and laws
of the City and County of Honolulu,
of the City and County of Honolulu.
and the provisions
Provisions
of the neighborhood plan,
that
and will conscientiously
conscientiously
and impartially discharge my duties
and impartially discharge my duties
to the best of my ability
best in my ability
as a member
as a member of
of the neighborhood board
the neighborhood board
to which I have been elected.
to which I have been as well.
Perfect. Welcome. All right.
Congratulations, members.
Yay.
It's very, sorry. I'm so sorry. I have sensitive ears. So
Okay.
it,
So we'll call the meeting back to order. We'll move on to our next item on the agenda, which is public safety reports. Honolulu Fire Department, I think I saw them earlier, but I think they might have jumped off. Honolulu Fire Department. Agenda item number three, Honolulu Police Department District 3 covering Foster Village. Move on to our next item. Honolulu Police Department District 5 covering Salt Lake, Aliamanu, and the airport.
Hi, Lieutenant Keone Hong, representing District 5. I'll go over the June statistics for 2023. Burglaries, in May we had 1 versus in June 1. Motor vehicle thefts, 6 compared to 2 in June. Thefts, we had 6 and also 6 in June. And car break-ins, we had 2 compared to 3 in June. The total calls for service was 600, for May, it was 605 and June was 516. There was no cases of notoriety that I came up with for the month of June for this area. But if there are any questions, I'm able to address them at this time. Go ahead. Sorry, I can't hear anybody.
Okay. Um, sorry, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, so, I've been noticing for about a month now, I know it's not an 18-wheeler, but I don't know how else to put it. The part of the truck that the person drives, that's the 18-wheeler, been parking on Lakini Street, in the 5200 district. This tractor trailer thing takes about 2 car spots, and I was just wondering, what is the rules and regulations for commercial, vehicles like that to take public parking spaces in residential areas?
Yeah, there are laws against it. If you what you said was the 5200 block of Likini Street. Is that what I heard? Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Like around 5210 area?
But
More
Likini,
exactly.
Likini, Likini. I just want to make sure I got the street correct. Yes. Okay. Yeah, we'll send an officer out tonight. Do you think it's there tonight?
I don't know, I didn't see it tonight, but I know it's usually there every night.
Okay. We'll send officers out periodically to try to check that area. It shouldn't be hard to miss. But yeah, if there are traffic or parking violations, they'll address it appropriately.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr.
Yeah, you turn it down to 0 when I get cake.
Yeah.
I've noticed, actually 2 homeless guys going into Aloha Park. And,
Sorry, the last words I heard was Ho'aloha Park.
and it
It kind of
became the
muted.
whole, like a village at the, Honolulu. It's uncontrolled now. It's like homeless city. And so, I mean, I know I'm being a little bit exaggeratory on this, but I don't want them to even start getting a foothold at Ho'aloha Park. Do you guys, check that out? I know you check it every so often, but, and the curfew is at 8 o'clock, but can you check that on a regular basis, like at least 2 times a night? Thank you.
Okay, yes, we will do park checks at that area. However, if you do see or any of the community does see people in the park after park closure, feel free to call 911 so that an officer or officers can respond and address it also. But we will do periodic checks for park closure. Thank you.
Mr. Gomes.
But the semi-trailer and one of the officers look up the 4 hours for commercial vehicles over 10,000 pounds. And also, can you, for the next meeting, Hualua Park, or do you know the answer now? As far as, utilizing a restroom after hours should be allowed, but, I don't know if the sign, there's no signs, but as long as they're using the restroom at Hualua Park, it's okay for them to, enter the park, use the restroom and exit the park. If you can check into that, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other questions from the board? Any questions from the community?
Motion detected at your front door.
Okay, hearing none. Thank you so much, officer. Have a great day. Mahalo.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Moving into item number 4A, this is our board organization. So this is the board meeting time and location. This is where board members may recommend certain locations and the meeting time for our August 23 to June 2024 term. The first sub-term of this term. Mr. Young.
Regarding venue and time, we just go with the time, right? I think a 7 o'clock time. Even, I would recommend 6:30. I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
We can take up the time separately and then location at
Well,
another.
the location, I'm working on a venue on Valkenburg Street within our purview as far as, the location. It's right off of Nimitz Highway by the, fire training center. So, they haven't gotten back to me. I had initial talks with them, sounded positive, but, I'm not gonna know anything probably till, a couple of days or next week sometime. You know, let you know that as far as the location, so. As far as the location tentatively, it's probably be the same place here until we can find something in our district.
So
Would you like to make a motion on the time and the location at the same time, or how would you
Well,
like?
the motion cannot be for the, the motion for the location would be this, Dillingham Boulevard address, Kapalama Holly at, 925 Dillingham. And if, I don't know, how the rest of the board feels, their work schedule, I think, make a motion for the meeting to start at 6:30 instead of 7.
And then what about the date of the month? Do we want to keep the second Thursday? Is that in your motion as well?
Make a motion that we keep the second Thursday of each month as our meetings.
Okay, so currently, the motion was made that this location where we are today, which is 925 Dillingham Boulevard, Hawaii 96817, the time 6:30, and the date would be the second Thursday of the month. That is the motion on the floor. Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Ms. Kanemaru. Are there any members who are now in discussion? Ms. Ayun Chong.
Okay, so I'm all for moving our meeting to 6:30, but not at this location if it's gonna be at 6:30. Being that, Dillingham is being worked on, it's hard to turn, on certain streets, there's backup traffic and everything. And I think 6:30 would be kind of pushing it, especially when HCC opens back up in August, for session. And, I think 7 o'clock if we're gonna be here, but if we move back into the Salt Lake District, I'm all for 6:30, but not for here at 6:30. That, to me, that's gonna be really pushing it.
Any other discussion, members?
For me, I'm coming from town, so I think this is a great location. Having it earlier is a good sign, good for me too. I would be in favor.
I'd like to pass the gavel to Mr. Bauer. If I can speak on this, please. I think that it's important that we do move the time of the meeting to 6:30. That we definitely, have been very lenient with the amount of speaking time that we've allowed members because of the topics that are so important to our members. And we've gone way past 9 o'clock. Maybe that's why our friends at Ohana Baptist Church, just like our friends at Oahu Veterans Center, weren't happy and frustrated with us. And I think that would be a good step in the positive direction for the board, no matter where we go. And I think that 6:30 would be good, and I would be in support of that motion. Any other?
Is there any other discussion?
It have, because I know I asked the NCO at the meeting in July 1st. I said, when the NCO decides that where they're meeting is too expensive, and they said you have to find a new location, do they try to talk to the location to see if they can work a price out? And they said that, no, it's up to the board. Has anybody tried to talk to Ohana Baptist into not raising the rent to 200 and maybe like 125 to 150, and maybe the NCO will approve that, so the 200?
So Vice Chair, may I speak?
It's 300.
So basically what it is that you guys can find the locations, the potential locations you guys want to have your meeting at. And then what happens is there's pricing we communicate with with the location, and also it's the contract as well, because there's a certain liability that and responsibility that the location has to take up. So sometimes it's not always about money, but when the money is higher than, $150, then we have to take that into consideration, because we have 36 boards and we can't budget every board to have $200, or, that kind of budget. That's why we try and do hubs like this temporarily until you guys find a location. But yes,
Are they gonna increase the, for those meetings?
the amount for the meetings.
It's going up, that's why.
Because we can't even afford Fun Factory.
Correct. So basically, before COVID, from what I was told, the DOE had a set price. And now they have a website you go through, and depends on what location you're at, or, they can make their own prices now. So, an elementary school could be $25 every meeting, but a high school could be $300. So it's not all set based upon the location and the technology that they have at those locations. When it comes to private locations such as a church and things like that, they can make their own pricing too, and that's something that we have to take into consideration. So we're gonna do our best to find the location and come together as that, but if pricing is a big factor, then we have hubs like Kapolama Hale and, Kapolei Hale has one, and then we also have Alawai, the Alawai Golf Club, the ballroom upstairs, we have that too. We have about 4 boards meeting at that, and they're outside of the district until we can find a correct location. So, yeah. If that answers the question.
Sure.
Yes, geez.
I think that, we can, if the board would like to go back to a DOE school, I know that the DOE schools are opening up. I'd be happy to reach out to, Solid Elementary, where we did meet previously. And then also, potentially, Wano High School. If you would like, I'd be happy to do that as well, along with, Mr. Jones, so we can try to secure something set in stone very soon.
I just toured, oh, sorry.
Chair recognizes me.
I toured the facility of the Armed Forces Association in Hawaii, known as the National Guard Association, plus from the Fire Training Center in Bokenburg. Would be ideal for our meetings, large room, separate entrance, you get close up if they have another event. Lots of parking, 50 in their space, 80 across the street. But I think it's price, so they gotta get back to me and, I try to sell them the community aspect of it and all of this stuff. How we could benefit from it, so it's kind of difficult at, you only deal with $200 and kind of hard, so we'll see. Just really get back to me in a couple of days, so. Then we can bring it up and then, I'll contact each other.
Chair recognizes me.
2 questions. This is the biggest concerns I have when we looking for a meeting place. How far is it from the nearest bus stop? And also, is it ADA compliant?
10 feet away.
And then, is it wheelchair friendly?
Okay, so federal good. And the bus stop is right there.
Just like to ask if any members of the community has any input on being or vehicles. Pass that down back to.
Thank you.
Yep.
So, if there's no further discussion, I know we had already 1 member opposed, so this would require us to go to a roll call vote. So I'd like to, our neighborhood commission assistant, please call the vote.
Okay.
The motion on
So
the
the
floor
motion,
is to maintain the second Thursday at 6:30 PM at the location determined 925 Dillingham, Honolulu, Hawaii 96817, which is this location until further notice. I do want to say that, according to the neighborhood plan, just as a point of information, the chair does have the ability to change the location of the meeting. So if there is an established location between now and the next meeting, that some, either a member Yomes or the NCO office, I may make that recommendation to get back into our community. So with that said, that's just, a small little, asterisk. But if there's, no other discussion, we'll call the vote.
Okay, so member Ayung Chang,
Are we voting?
we're voting.
Just want to make sure.
Okay.
Are we
So-
voting on the location and the time or?
Voting
the
on
time?
everything.
So we're voting on the location, which is Kapalamahale, 925 Dillingham, until we find another location. The time will be at 6:30 and the date of the meeting will be the second Thursday of every month.
The only reason why I say no is because of the time.
Right? Member Barrett. Member or Vice Chair Gower. Okay, Member Godfrey,
Yes.
Member Kanemaru,
Yes.
Member Omura,
Yes.
Member Shigemasa,
Yes.
or Chair Shigemasa. And Member Yomes.
Yes.
Okay, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ayes and 1 nay and 0 abstain, so it passes.
Motion's adopted.
Awesome.
Right. Now, moving on to item number 4B, determination of the board recess schedule. Before I open it up to any motions, we are not required by the neighborhood plan to recess, but we have the ability to recess no more than 2 or 3, excuse me.
Now it's 3.
No
It's
more-
always been 3. Yeah.
No
it's
more
always
than
3.
3 months. So I'd like to open up the floor to nomination, or no, excuse me, motions in regards to our recess schedule. So we can motion to have no recess, or we can motion to establish certain months for recess. Mr. Yobes.
Motion, Mr. Chair, most definitely in December. There's so much activity with families, friends. During the holidays, I think we should decide to recess in December.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Kanemaru. Okay, members, we're, oh, Mr. Baird, I'm so sorry.
One of these days, you're gonna look my way.
One of these days, you're gonna sit on this side. I'm just kidding.
But I don't have a voice. Should we leave it open or should we put in a month, say like June? Or should it just be left to be announced at a later date?
If we were to bring this up again, it would have to be a request either from a member to the chair to put it on the agenda, or the chair puts it on the agenda at a future agenda. So now is the time to make a motion on the topic. If we want to add another date in there, that's, you would make a motion to amend Mr. Young's motion, or you would ask Mr. Youngs to, if he would restate his motion to include that date.
Let me ask you this way. Let's say we meet in January and we say we want to take February off. Is that enough time to do all the announcements and everything that you're going to have to do, or do we have to do it 2 months ahead of time?
Chair, may I respond?
Yes, you may.
Okay, so for the NCO, unless there's like an emergency, so for instance, if you were requesting to recess in February, it would have to be on the agenda on January.
You could do it as early as 1 month.
Right, right. But just as you know, many of the boards do 2 set recesses, which is usually June before initial convening. So June and December, or they do after ledge, which is usually, I believe, April or May. So sometimes they'll do May and June, May or June, or they do May, June, and December. But you guys have an option of 3. And the reason why we give that option is that If it comes to like a 3 absent rule, if you don't come to the meeting within a year 3 times, then you actually will get a 3 absent rule, which is regardless of sickness or anything, even if it's an excused absence, you will get a notice as a member. So, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's not required, but the chair may put on the agenda to,
It can be changed to by the chair.
Yeah.
And as long as it's on the agenda.
Mr. Soms.
Madam Chair, I would like to restate my motion
Yes,
Okay.
go ahead.
for paper-wise. I'd like to make a motion that we recess in the month of June and the month of December for this term.
Second,
I also will second it.
okay. Members, the motion has been amended for June of 2024 and December 2023. Members, we're now in discussion. Any discussion on this motion? Mr. Elmore?
Yeah, I'm always the one, I'm the Grinch when it comes to this December stuff. I know everybody wants December. But in my opinion, you know, we meet the second Thursday, which is quite early in the month. And December and January tend to be the busiest as far as, you know, the community goes. Where we make both community announcements and also safety stuffs, and there's a whole bunch of community things that, you know, our goal, since I've been elected with the board here, has always been to get the community more involved, because the question is, why doesn't any of the community people come to the meetings? And I talk to the community people, and it's like, what, you know, like, why should we come to the meetings when the most busiest times that we feel we need you guys don't have a meeting, this is December. So I said, well, the board decides that, and I said, that's just the way it is, sorry. I said, well, then that means that you guys usually, that December, all the schools have, like, from elementary, intermediate, high school, they all have their things where they could go out to the community, into a board, say everything coming up. Now, I've had counter arguments telling me, well, they can do that in November. But we meet so early in November, it doesn't make sense. It's just like too far away from the December stuff. So to me, that's totally invalid, but you know, it's an argument, and I'm sorry that I am the Grinch of this thing. I consider December to be the most important month as far as the board is concerned with the neighborhood, and with the neighborhood concerned with the board. My vote.
This is a reminder to members, we are currently on the motion to recess in December of 2023 and June 2024. Mr. Yost.
Mr. Chair, I agree that he is the Grinch. I just wanted to see what was more important, the Salt Lake Christmas Parade or the neighborhood board. But I'm Santa.
And with that,
So you, all your friends that in the community is gonna miss the Salt Lake Christmas Parade if we have a meeting in December. And so I just want to throw that out.
Or maybe they don't come because we're doing such a great job.
And I down.
Chair, may I speak?
Go ahead.
Okay, so some other boards, what they did was they put up tent, or the board ended up participating in the parade. And that's like a community outreach that you guys can do, and that's part of the $1,000 that can be used for, where you can put up like a tent and then you guys can meet and greet at that time. So it's not really in a meeting environment. You guys can just say hi and like maybe pass out waters or things like that. So that could be like your December thing as a compromise. if
can
that-
we make t-shirts, like something?
We are gonna make t-shirts for you guys. Yeah, we're in the process of getting t-shirts for all board members.
And it'll say neighborhood board 18 for us, or it's just.
It'll say like, I believe it'll say Salt Lake in the back, or Aliamanu in the back. And then we have all of your guys' member profiles has a size that you guys would cross off, and then you guys will have that.
So
So,
that's why we filled that out.
Yeah.
Did you guys look at getting bigger sizes?
I believe we can go up to 3X. Yeah,
Cause there's,
We'll it back to.
yeah.
We'll go
Yeah.
back to the motion on the
Okay,
floor.
so
Motion on the floor is our board recess schedule. Any other discussion? If not, I'd like to close this. Ms. Godfrey.
I like the idea of having a tent, if there is a Salt Lake parade.
There is a Salt Lake parade.
There is a Salt Lake parade?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Is that on the
I've been to
Thursday?
Salt Lake for a long time. I'm on the edge of the district.
Is the parade on the second Thursday in the evening, like 6 o'clock to 7, 8?
So I'm okay with the December stuff.
All right, we'll jump into, are there any members objecting? We did have one member object during discussion, so we will be going to a roll call vote. Neighborhood Commission Assistant?
Okay, so right now we're looking at an amended motion to have June be a recess month and December be a recess month. Member Ayung Chang, Member Baird, Member Gower, sorry, Member Godfrey,
Yes.
Member Hind,
Aye.
Member Kanemaru,
Yes.
Member Omura, Member our Chair Shigemasa,
Yes?
and Member Yoms.
Yes.
Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 yeses, 1 nay, and 0 abstain, so it passes.
Motion is adopted.
Okay.
Now we'll move on to item number 4C, adoption of our oral testimony rules. This is where, we had a good discussion earlier about when we're nominating our sergeant at arms. This is the opportunity that we have to give the instruction to the sergeant at arms on what they would do as far as timing, because this is where the sergeant at arms would come into play with following our oral testimony rule. The rule, if you have the agenda for today, we see the rule that we adopted in the previous 3 terms. If we'd like to modify it in any way or keep it, I open the floor to any motions.
Motion to keep the
Vice Chair Bauer.
motion to keep speakers who first keep their comments under 1 minute, folks giving reports summarized under 3 minutes, and board members give comments under 1 minute per turn, and not to speak a second time until others give it a chance, and then the audience give comments.
So the motion on the floor by Vice Chair Bauer is to maintain the oral testimony rules as defined on our agenda today. Is there a second for the motion?
A second.
Seconded by Ms. Hine. Members, we're in discussion. Any discussion on the motion? Mr. Yomes.
Regarding oral testimony among members, I'd like to see something added in there that there will be a second round of questioning. As far as a third and fourth round on the same subject or discussion, I would be against that. I think it should be where they have the minute of testimony from the board. Second round, you can add another minute, but the question keeps on coming. I mean, if the discussion is about the same topic, I don't think as a board, we should get into third and fourth discussions with the same board members.
Vice Chair Gar, are you amenable to verbiage in your original motion? After we're given a chance to speak, to state no member shall be given
Third opportunity.
2 of us.
third or more opportunities to speak on the same topic.
Alright,
Ms. Hine, do you agree to that?
Yeah.
Okay, so the original motion on the floor has been amended by the introducer of the motion. That is, board members must keep their comments under 1 minute per turn. Board members may not speak a second time until all members are given a chance to speak. Board members may not speak more than a third time on the same topic. At the conclusion of the board comment period, the audience will be given the opportunity to comment. Any discussion on that motion? Mr. Elmore?
Yeah, there are times this past year where, especially because of the Red Hill incident, we've gone to like 4 or 5 times around. Some of us have gone around that route. And to stifle that person, I think is unfair, but that's my opinion. Okay, especially when we get to like very controversial and community concern events, the biggest being the Red Hill thing. The second biggest might be the the road, what's that, Salt Lake Boulevard thing? And I think the rail and stadium comes close behind. Yes, but especially the things, I think it's your discretion anyway. You're the one that would take the discretion, so no matter what the thing is, because if we're gonna have meetings where there's gonna be, serious discussion and clarification is gonna be asked for by board members over, because maybe the person giving us the information to the board may not be clear and, may not be satisfactory in giving us the answer that we asked.
Ms. Kanemaru, followed by Mr. Young.
Okay, well, regarding your comment, Vice Chair, oh, well, no, actually, former Vice Chair. I really feel that as a timekeeper, when I was doing it, it was very difficult to control because after a while, it's like, who are you recognizing? So, but second time around, that was okay. But the timing wise, yeah, for the second time around, people need to be more concise on what they're seeing instead of, oh, I don't know if I should be asking this or who I should be addressing this, no need all that, oh, preload. I'm using the wrong words, okay, but anyway, but no need, just ask the question, boom, let's move on. That's what just lengthens the entire questioning process or your comment process. So just be concise, to the point, direct, know what you're going to say before you raise your hand, instead of that automatic people raising their hands because they want to speak in order. Okay, that's my.
Mr. Young.
Mr. Chair, just trying to add to the motion. The reason I brought that up was because of myself and the Grinch asking too many questions. To be fair, I would add in the motion that on the discretion of the chair, you can open up to other questions.
I second it.
I'll stay in there for that.
Would you be so we don't have to do a double motion? Would you be amenable to, okay, to include that in just dependent on the discretion of the chair? And Mr. Barrett.
Since we're throwing stuff out here, I think that peeve. I raise my hand and you recognize me and I go, oh, I got a question. Well, no, duh. That's why you raised your, why do we have to always say, I got a question? No, you got a question. That's why you raised it, right? It just gets to me. Sorry, but since everyone's saying something about that, I'll hold my mouth.
Hey, I got a question.
Okay, I recognize.
Is the motion seconded? Okay, motion is seconded. We're closing discussion. Is there any members who are objecting to the current motion on the floor? Hearing no objection, the motion is adopted unanimously. Thank you. Thank you. We are finished with our organization. We can get back to the business of the community. Community events and concerns. This is where any member can report any events or concerns within the community, either a member or a member of the community. I'll recognize Ms. Kanemaru, followed by Ms. Young Johnson.
Thank you very much, Chair. For those that I did have an email, I did send out the resolution. For those who did not receive it, there are copies. So this is regarding the purchase of the Honolulu Country Club was made on August 2022, and it's been purchased by a new company. But one thing with this is my application right now is for our Salt Lake waterway to be adopted. I'm putting it in a little snippet there. To be adopted by our neighborhood board and the community, that because it's part of our INA that it's flowing through, it just so happens flowing through Honolulu Country Club. It is a conservation parcel, okay? It is a preservation, so it means it's protected. So therefore, they're getting a tax write-off on this also, people say, because they get into so-called, anyway, the technical part. But because of the state land use, they are considered as a conservation district and restricted preservation district. So in order to protect this land, and part of it is because my community board, which is the Country Club Village, came to me and asked, they were going to come to this meeting tonight, but they'll come to the August meeting. What we'd like to present is this resolution that the application for the Honolulu Country Club to please to take care of the property that they should be rightfully taken care of, because the overgrowth is just massive. And we believe that it's affecting the actual natural habitat of the protected, and the ducks, the coon, and the owl are Hawaiian animals are protected in this site. So therefore, we'd like to, initiate a resolution. And I don't want to read the whole thing. I mean, it's going to take 2 hours. But anyway, and
So can I,
yes, go ahead.
okay.
Miss Vibrant.
So are you saying by this, all these words, that you want Country Club to be, you're gonna say adopt the Salt Lake waterway? So we're making a resolution. I'm new at this, I'm just helping out you. So we're making a resolution, and if it's adopted, then what? You present it to Honolulu Country Club and say, okay, it's your responsibility now. What happens? What happens?
We'd like to show support to, because I already contacted Radiant Cordero's office, Councilman Cordero, and she was at that time chief of staff when we initially had contacted her.
Joey Monahan
Joe Monahan's office is the one who did
did
that.
pass
Yes.
an amendment to the charter and created a provision that makes waterways that are on private property the responsibility of that owner. And they have to maintain it, and how it's enforced, the Department of Facility Maintenance has a chief engineer who has a division on waterways
Okay.
that enforces. And so that's who the Country Club has been partnering with through their association and their AOAO in making sure that they're continuously cleaning that waterway, because it can get pretty stinky.
So bottom line is, they're already responsible, and this body is just making adopt the Salt Lake waterway.
With a new owner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the new owner, because the new owner seems to be
Not doing it.
not doing it, or doesn't believe that that's what their responsibility is. We've asked through the office of Radiant Cadero's office to actually schedule a meeting of some sort, with HCC's new management. And this was already from September. We tried to do this and they have not reacted. And DFN has also been a little.
The previous, if I can comment, the previous owners, it took a lot for us to get them to the table. But when we got them to the table, they were a partner. And now we're in that same stage of our relationship with the new people. Hey, get to the table.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just get to the table. And I thought, we could do this. And so the Country Club Village, which I am the executive on there, what we are doing is we're doing a community service project. So this is a tie-in that, they wanted to adopt the Salt Lake waterway, as a community though, also that, those, because it's in our district, that we adopt the waterway so we can protect it. Like how to adopt the roadway, right? It's adopt the waterway. And for Make a Difference Day, which is on October 28th, we wanted to do a celebration of sorts in the community as a community service project again, open it up to all the residents who would, come and celebrate that, it's been so that's kind of it in a gist. Yeah, so that we don't have to read.
This is a new resolution. It's not on the agenda.
Yes.
If we do have the ability to take a motion to add it to the agenda as a line item, and I would have to rule on the determination if this has a larger impact, that it should be posted on the agenda. And I would say that because this is an issue that we've continuously had with the community and as a board, I would see no conflict in adding this to the agenda today. So if there is a motion to add this resolution on for consideration, we can potentially add it under item number 5B. Is there a motion?
Let's change this.
I believe there is a section in the resolution that talks about that.
Yes.
Is there a motion? Go, let's get the motion. If
Did
there's a
you make a
motion.
motion then first?
Motion by Ms. Kanemaru, for this.
I'm in discussion.
No, not yet. We didn't motion yet. So we're motioning to consider this resolution as item number 5B. Is there any objection to the is there a second to the motion? Excuse me. Seconded by Vice Chair Gower. Is there any objection to the motion? Any discussion to adding it to the agenda? Hearing none, this would, Ms. Godfrey.
Yeah, I don't think it should be on the agenda because I don't know anything about it, which you all do. But there's also a section in here which kind of, the language kind of got me a little confused here, so I would like to have more time to study it.
Mr. Yomes.
I have some concerns about this. I understand board member Connie Morrow. Like for all the people that live there. But we have some problems with this. And we have to, but we got some liability concerns as far as bringing in this liquor commission meeting. It's a big liability problem there. It's like an extortionary means that we're going to, hey, if you don't agree with me, we're not going to give you a liquor license.
That's definitely something I think that we can take up, have after we've agendized this item.
And secondly,
Please not talk. Yes, anyways.
still on the floor, Chair.
Go ahead.
Secondly, is number of variables in this situation. Been going on for years. We made about 4 or 5 resolutions throughout the years. And the problem with this is the city is really involved in this because they own some of the waterways. I don't care if they say that, oh, this waterway is gonna be theirs, but the city, that's why they have pegs over there. I went out there today to do my homework and stuff. It's pegged along the shoreline, so especially on the Mappa side of the golf course, the city is responsible from that peg all the way up to the shoreline. And they haven't done their responsibility either. That place is a mess. There's so much rubbish. The homeless, reported on the homeless living back there, and it's just a mess back there, which contributes to this dirty waterway. And also now I found about that sign on, as far as the Army is concerned, the water is polluted. I still haven't heard from the Army how this waterway got polluted. Was it from the military or was it somebody else? We still haven't answered my question. So I have a lot of concerns as far as this particular issue, but I feel for the people that live there, I know about the smell, and willing to help and work out their wording and stuff, but I think we should save this for another meeting.
So there is a motion currently on the floor. We are in discussion. Any other discussion? Okay, so members, we already had 2 members note their objection. This would need a 2/3 vote to be added to the agenda, which would mean that there would need to be 7.
There would need to be 6.
6 members voting in the affirmative. Okay, we'll roll call our vote,
Okay,
adding this item to 5B.
okay. So, Chair, point of order. I want to say that if we do a 2/3 vote, I think there's a new ruling that you're only eligible to do it on the next board meeting. I believe it's in August. I can clarify that, but
No, my understanding.
it's this one, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
we can
Okay.
sunshine any, it's the state sunshine law.
correct.
We can sunshine
Okay.
any item onto the board's agenda.
As long as there's a 2/3 vote,
As
yes.
long as there's a 2/3 vote and it won't have a majority, an impact so severe
Correct.
that it would, we would be circumventing public interest.
Okay. Okay, so This is for, this is to have a 2/3 vote for the resolution regarding the waterways. I don't have that, resolution. To make it on, to create it on the agenda as a 5B item. Young Chung, sorry, Young Chung, sorry, member, Young Chung. Okay, okay. Member Baird. Member Gar. Member Godfrey.
No.
Member Hind. Member Kanemaru.
Yes.
Member Omoro.
Yes.
Member, Chair Shigemasa.
Yes.
And Member Yones.
No one on this.
Okay, so. 2, 3. So there's 6 no's and 1, 2, 3, 3 yeses. So it fails.
So the motion is not adopted.
Yes.
So we're back on item 5A in our reports of any events or concerns in the community. I do, open to members that any member would like to request anything to be put on the agenda, as long as you let the chair know within 7 days prior to the meeting started, before the agenda is agendized, in regards to sunshine law. Any request from any board member, is on. Mr. Baird, I think you had a comment.
How do we now put this on next month?
So just.
Yeah.
That's what you keep-
It'll be in the minutes of this meeting there. So therefore, if you review the minutes and it's not on there, that means somebody on your side messed up.
Yeah, somebody still has to make a request.
Mhm.
Put it on.
Right.
So can we do it now?
You don't need to. I mean, so say, I think the opportunity for you to make a motion to place on a future agenda is in the case that your chair does not honor members' requests. And then you would circumvent the chair and say, hey, you don't want to put this on the agenda. We're gonna vote to put it on, kind of thing.
That's correct.
Well, one of the things about this, and this is goes back months ago. We had something like this or something else, I forget what it was. On my living room, and I said, it was coming to us. And I had an answer. If we're going to have it done, it should be getting us to review for next month.
So
Not
that's the,
for a medium, because it's not fair to the paper. It's not fair to the person that got it up, but we should have a chance to review it. Because I think we all have a question.
Yeah,
There's a little part to it too.
if you would like any item to be requested on a future agenda, if you provide this resolution prior to the agenda being posted, then we can include that in the mail out.
Exactly.
well,
We can,
well,
Because it's good to get it.
correct. So may I speak, Chair?
go ahead.
Okay, so as our office, what you can do is, member, Kanemaru can actually email it to me and CC the chair.
Which
Ev-
is what I did.
Okay, you probably emailed Thomas, so I didn't receive, sorry about that. But what you can do is, I'm not sure if Thomas has set up Google Drives yet for this board. But what we will do is we can upload that to the Google Drive, so all the information will be available for all members and even the public to look at the proposed resolution before it gets voted on, so that you guys can, even when it comes time to edit the resolution, you guys can come to the meeting and edit it yourselves as a board. Or the other option is, if there isn't any Google Drive, you can email Chair and Thomas or whoever, whatever NA is going to be available for your board. And then we will email it to all of the board members. And then that way you guys can look at it for the next meeting.
Just want to remind that send it 7 days prior before the
Right.
agenda posts, so we can get that on the mail out. If the agenda goes out, you've missed your chance, but you can still bring the resolution to that board meeting, and it's up to the board members if the board's gonna adopt it or not.
Right.
Ms. Kynor.
Well, thank you very much for the report. So this was just as a community concern that I brought it up. That I would like to do, so that that's why I didn't read the whole resolution itself. Because timing was quite important, I already had worked with, council member Raymond Fadero's office. And so she, is going to be submitting a request to have it on the August agenda.
But it comes.
No, on the board. Because it is of a concern, it's in her district. And part of the concern was true that, on August 17th, for that liquor commission meeting, that we wanted to at least meet with them so that they understand why they may receive some negative testimony, regarding their being granted their liquor license. Yeah, that's why the timing was.
Thank you for the explanation. Any other members have any reports?
Well, I was next.
Ms. Leon Chong, followed by Mr. Omar.
Okay, so it's not actually a report, it's actually more something that I brought up at the, meeting on July 1st. And, didn't get quite much information from the NCO on this, but I had some people who gave positive feedback and they thought it was a good idea about forming some type of pig, it might be a different name, where maybe two or one board member from like us, IAL, and maybe Kalihi, because we have the rail project, that they could meet like once every other month, once a month, right? And then instead of us having to receive the information like separately by email, whoever would be the representative from like each board would meet, and then they would come and bring the communication back to us of what that is coming from their board. I didn't get much, find out much about if we can, I mean, but I got a lot of positive feedback from IAF though. They thought that was a good idea of, having like one or two members from each board meeting together to talk about current issues that, are in the area.
I mean, I think we can only pass a pig for our board and put people on the pig,
You wouldn't need a.
but, as I have a great relationship with Chair Farm of Cleveland, Chair Stephen Wood, from IAEA, and, I constantly talked with them over the last year about issues that affect our area, and their areas as well. And I could see if they're willing to do something like that. It's just that if two or more members are meeting on a topic that this board may make a motion or recommendation on, then we'd be in breach of the sunshine law. And so we gotta always get back to the sunshine law, and that is something that we can do, but we don't want to be the only board that creates a pig and then the other boards don't. So, I mean, I can shoot an email tonight to the two chairs of those neighborhood boards and, see what their thoughts are. Ms. Hyman.
I don't think you need a pig for that. If you as a member from this board, a member from, Lee and someone from my, wants to meet and talk, just like how chair talks to them frequently, just go do it. That doesn't violate any rules. There's no guidelines for single members or even two members. It's just when it gets more than that. But it doesn't sound like that's the intention. The intention is not to get 4 members from ours and 4 members from them. But just go ahead and talk, bring whatever you hear in the open, in the section on the agenda that allows for open comments from our members to bring up issues, bring up what you guys talk every during that time. You don't need a formality to do that. Just go do it.
Mr. Omar.
Yeah, I heard you say that at the meeting. I like the idea a lot, but we were talking about it on table. And the only objection came up to what about the sunshine law thing, because, if you get, like you said, more than 2 people involved, right? And then say, we get 4 people here, people there. one of us over here, maybe one person comes down and
Right.
what happens and the thing that's so confusing is the sunshine law. I mean, that confuses Jesus out of me. So, you know, like, yeah, so that was my only concern.
It's actually really great.
All right. Are there any other reports? Oh, Mr. Holman.
Okay, I had a situation I brought up a couple months ago. I made a resolution. This is not for tonight, this is for next month, but I passed it out to all you guys. It's amazing what ChatGPT can do with my Kalidi, Pigeon English and putting, you know, just putting it in chat. And it actually came out with this ChatGPT and I was shocked at how good it was. So anyway, you guys can look that over. It's about speeding on Salt Lake Boulevard from Pulo Road to Tam Highway and put motion cameras up there. So that was next meeting. That's it.
Okay. Any other?
We have a person, Jack James, that wanted to speak for community
Okay.
announcement.
Mr. James, give me a moment. I'm gonna give you a thumbs up when you're ready to speak, because I do have to have a few seconds to turn your mic on here.
Am I okay now? Okay. Chair, can you hear me okay? Okay, Chair, thank you for entertaining me this evening, and board members. My name is Jack James and I represent Honolulu 7 Recall. We're dedicated to the proposition of recalling 7 of the Honolulu City Council members from office. The issue is the recent pay raises that went into effect July 1st. It will take us about 14 months to accomplish the goal. We will be in your neighborhood a lot. We want to be good neighbors. And we want to, if you have any inquiries, the chair will know how to get a hold of me. We are going to have a leadership team member at your neighborhood board every month in case you have questions. So I just wanted to introduce myself tonight and what we're going to be doing in the Salt Lake area over the next year. And so I appreciate the opportunity. I'm here if you have any questions.
Yes, questions. Okay. Mr. James, what exactly will you be doing?
Just consider, if for lack of, to save time, think of it as a regular political campaign. There'll be signage, there'll be mailers, there'll be door to door, there'll be radio, there'll be lots of publicity.
Trying to accomplish.
Repeat that again.
Sorry, Mr. James, what are you trying to accomplish with this Honolulu 7 recall? And what would that entail?
We will recall 7 of the current 9 Honolulu council members from their seats. And we're doing that in accordance with the Honolulu City Charter, Title 12, and in accordance with those rules. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Sorry.
Just so the members of the community can be aware, you are starting recall efforts for our current council member, is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Sorry about that.
Yes, I am. Yes, we are.
Ms. Hine.
Mr. James, my question is, isn't the accurate number that you guys are trying to recall now 3? Because the 4 other representatives are in their first term and you cannot remove a city council member. You cannot call for a recall of a council member in their first term.
That's a great question, and Civil Beat put that out, and you'll be seeing them rescind that within soon, I think. No, we can recall all 7. 3 would be recalled this calendar year. 4 would be recalled in 2024.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes, you
Any
can
other
be
questions
recalled
for
in the
council from
second,
the board?
you can be recalled the
There's a
second
bad
and third
echo.
year of your term.
Our district.
Okay.
And Chair, I'm happy to come back and be on your agenda. I'm doing that with several neighborhood boards to discuss it if that's of any interest to the committee.
I don't think you heard your question correctly. So you asked them about our school.
Yeah.
I don't think you heard you correctly. She's not one of them.
So, Mr. James, you're leading efforts for Councilmember Radiant Cordero
That's correct.
to be caught in this calendar year.
She would, if we were to recall, Councilwoman Cordero, it would be in this calendar year, yes.
Good luck.
Good luck.
We have a good deal of support in the Salt
All
Lake
right.
area.
All right, hearing none, we'll jump back into our agenda. We'll try to do speed dating. We're on item number 6A. We have City Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative, Mr. Brian Gallagher, Deputy Director, Department of.
Uh-oh, looks like my video is not going through, but can everybody hear me? All good? I'm getting a thumbs up. Okay, so let's see. So everybody's they should be aware that we have a new rail transportation system in effect. So it officially began on June 30th. We held a grand opening ceremony at the Halava Station, very near the Aloha Stadium. We had a series of speeches from Mayor Rick Blangiardi, Governor Josh Green. We were even honored by Senator Brian Schatz, was able to come down and provide some very kind and encouraging words for this rail project moving forward. Rail service now runs from the Kualakai Housing Development in Eva to the Halava Station near Aloha Stadium. Bus routes have been added to transfer riders from the Halava Station to Kalihi downtown and further east. You will need a holo card to ride, so simply purchase a card at any rail station kiosk or participating retail outlet. Add some money to it, and then you can tap your way through the rail and which they call Skyline and the bus system. So with a holo card account, you can manage your family's cards, reload funds, or transfer funds from any lost cards. For more information on that, please visit our holocard.net and honolulu.gov/rail. I'll place those in the chat. The city is also pleased to announce tax relief for homeowners in fiscal year 24. So in June, Mayor Blangiardi signed City Council's adopted $3.41 billion operating budget. And among the city's top priorities were prioritizing tax relief for nearly 152,000 qualifying homeowners. So this results in the form of a one-time $350 tax credit amounting to about $53 million in tax savings, which will be applied directly to properties' tax bills before they are distributed later this summer. We'd also like to announce, if you get the chance, to visit 2 of Central Oahu's pools, which are now open again. They've been closed for quite some time due to renovations. But the Waipahu District Pool opened on April 28th, and the Pearl City District Park Pool opened last month. We have $25 million available for rental and utility relief programs. So the city has a program which has temporarily been reopened and is providing some funding through the state and local fiscal recovery funds from the Honolulu City Council. If you get a chance, we have links to that at our oneoahu.org site. I'll actually attach a link to our newsletter, and people can go visit that site in case they're looking for some type of assistance. Let's see. Following up with previous community concerns, there was a cracked sidewalk in the area of 645 Ahua. I believe that's Ahua Ave. And I guess the property owner was issued a notice of violation by the Department of Planning and Permitting. So we asked to go DPP to take a look at that and to really determine if that was the property owner's responsibility or was it a result of something out of their control. Maybe because I know we had a flooding issue in that area. So the response was, so a notice of violation was issued to the property owner for the cracked and damaged driveway, and their determination was it was caused by vehicle traffic within the driveway. The property owner is not being held responsible for the damaged sidewalks in the surrounding areas, but only for that driveway to their property. So a work request was sent to the Department of Facilities Maintenance to repair the surrounding sidewalks in the area. We had another request to look at missing street signs at the intersections of Ala Napunani and Ala Poha, and I believe Ala Napunani and Ala Makahala. So DFM is working on both of those. They are currently remaking the signs, and they're looking at their schedules of when they can be installed. So hopefully that's sometime pretty soon. And then been following up with Board Member Baird recently on the intersection of Salt Lake Boulevard, Namur, and Maluna. So the Department of Design and Construction has an ongoing Salt Lake Boulevard widening project. And we've had some traffic control out there going on for a while. And so thankfully enough, we were able to get some really good feedback from the Salt Lake Neighborhood Board, and we were able to recognize there was some confusing traffic signage at that intersection. So we revised some of the traffic control to try to eliminate the traffic merging issues at this intersection. And some of the feedback we got from Mr. Baird is that they would prefer that the traffic control be reverted back so that the right turn lane along Salt Lake Boulevard onto Nomura Road is restored. And so what DDC did was we revised our traffic control plans to make it even clearer that it is a right turn only lane and you can no longer drive along Salt Lake Boulevard through the intersection of Namur and Maluna and merge on the other side. So we sent those plans to the City Department of Transportation Services for review and approval. We're hoping to have our revised traffic control at that intersection implemented within the next week or two. But yeah, thanks again to the Salt Lake Neighborhood Board for helping us out to identify the issue. We also want to identify that we can't control all the drivers in the area. There's always going to be individuals that they're just not going to follow the traffic signage no matter what, and they may be trying to take advantage of that intersection. I attended Radford High School. I know that area fairly well, and I know it's a long going way to get around traffic in that area. What people are used to over the decades of what we used to be able to drive through. But so we're trying our best. We can't control everybody. We're just hoping what we're able to implement makes it better in the future. Did the public or board have any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Just to confirm, I know you talked about Namur and Maluna. So currently today, there's only one lane going straight and right, and a left turn only lane onto Maluna if you're traveling eastbound. Are you
Correct.
saying that you're gonna revert it back to the old way, which caused potential accidents or could have caused potential accidents with cars not turning right.
So
Because
what
right
we're,
now, I feel like it's working.
Yeah, they're doing.
okay, so that's a discussion we can, it's good that, Mr. Barrett is there, because, he had reached out to us and said he preferred it to go back to the previous traffic control plan. But we also recognize in that previous, we also recognize in that previous plan that there was some conflicting and confusing signage, and we could have done a better job of identifying it being a right turn only lane. So that's our goal moving forward. But yeah, that's the whole purpose of this forum, is to receive more information from the public and try to understand the preferences.
Have major concerns with going back to the original way, which caused
Going back to the original.
a lot of,
The original was straight and right. It's not, it's going back to where it's straight and right only.
so it was like that a few months
The
ago,
sign
where people were disregarding the right only, and they were merging in the intersection.
That's the problem, is the sign's still there. He just said he's gotta take that sign down. Because the sign says you can go straight and right, and it can't be right.
But-
it can't be straight.
I think my concern, Mr. Gallagher, is with the signage. You said it yourself, that it's gonna be up to the driver's behavior if they're gonna follow the signage. And this way, allowing only drivers to stay in one lane that goes straight or right when you hit the intersection. I've noticed that when I'm driving there, and I drive it very frequently because I live right in that area, that it's reduced potential accidents in the intersection. And my original suggestion was to bring the delineators and put the delineators that make you turn right in the intersection so people can't go straight. If you change a sign, we're gonna be in the same boat that we started with when we had these concerns. And, we can put it on a future agenda for the board to review the traffic pattern, because I have staunch concerns with changing it back and potentially people getting hurt.
Understood.
I had the opportunity to run a ride on the Skyline. And it was a pretty good ride. I liked it. I'd like to thank the mayor, Laurie Kayakina, Roger Morton, Hitachi, the bus, all the workers involved. They put on a really good opportunity for the public to ride the rail and get a feeling of how it would run. Although the numbers are down as far as the paid ridership, which was expected until the rail continues. I submitted a report to the commission, and hopefully we can send it to you. It's a few ideas what could be done to generate revenue for Skyline. The Kamakani Ali and Pro Ridge get some small little vans and pick up the passengers from Skyline and take them to their mall so they could shop. Because some of them, it's a long walk to get through the shopping center. Just briefly going over some others. The city provide mall shuttle from Pearl Harbor, Arizona Memorial to the Aloha Stadium parking lot. Because it's a short ride, but a lot of tourists would jump on that. And get together with the tour companies and have the tour buses come out there and put the tourists on, let them ride for the 40 minutes, 20 minutes each way, and then continue their tours. And offer them a deal where Aloha Stadium will be full of buses and in the stadium, the Skyline will get some revenue, and also put it out to the schools for our young keiki to go on and experience that, and they can get their parents to take them at full price later on. But maybe $1 thing for the schools on an event that, an excursion controlled where they'll make an appointment. But some of the ideas that they can pass on to you that I had. Just real quick, secondly, 645 Mahua Street, I wish you guys would take a second look at that, because I don't agree the action you guys taking going after a small business owner who just moved in there. And for the last 20 years, I've been on this board, and then Ahua Street and Mapuna Street has been underwater and caused all those damages. And at that location, whoever was involved in this, they changed the water supply plate, which was cracked from the water, and put a new plate there. And so they know that the water damaged the whole sidewalk, all of the 4 or 5 businesses on each side of the roadway. But I guess to make an example, or whatever you guys did, you guys went to this particular business owner who just moved in, and they didn't really know it, they just bought it to take over that, the old owners moved out. And at that time, it was a cesspool. The water was just went into their business, and there was like a cesspool of green water. So the new owners had to go in and build a new driveway. But the sidewalk itself, even though you say it's the driveway, but the entire sidewalk needs to be changed, and that's the city's responsibility. I know you guys are gonna try to put it on the small business owner, but that's not really fair, because I have pictures that go way back. And even as of last week, I took some pictures where the sidewalk was full of water. So that just shows you that the problem is continuous, it's been going on for a long period of time.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. I'll ask them to reassess and take a look.
Thank you.
Going back to Salt
Sorry,
Lake
sorry.
and Namur and Maluna. Yeah, we looked at putting in traffic delineators to force traffic to turn right, and it impacts the it's ADA access in the crosswalk and the cross traffic from Maluna. So we weren't able to put in delineators, but if you would like to discuss internally within the Salt Lake board, we can always reach out to me, or we can bring it up at the next meeting. We can, we don't think we're gonna be able to revise the traffic control for the next couple of weeks, but we can hold off and that you guys we can let you discuss it further. Because I understand your concerns. You're right. People are gonna disregard the traffic signage, because this is what some people do. And the current situation forces them to merge early. One concern is when school starts up again and there's a lot more traffic in the area, what's going to be the impact moving forward, and is it really going to back everything up down Salt Lake Boulevard? But yeah, let's continue to discuss, and we're happy to take your guys' suggestions and see what the board can come up with. And were there any other
Yeah, ready.
comments?
I have a slight situation. One of my neighbors reported this, at the corner of Ala Lima Street and Ala Lilikoy. Across the street from the shopping center, way at the north end, right where the number 1 L bus goes up Ala Lilikoy and turns right by, Tropicana Manor, that small townhouses area. There's a sign that says no parking begin. Right, because I guess maybe you folks were thinking that, because you got the huge 1L buses turning right, that you didn't want any cars parked there. But you kept the sign, no parking Thursdays, street sweeping 9 to 11 on Thursdays remained up there. So everybody thinks that the parking is still good except Thursdays, 9 to 11. Well, the neighbors there want to know, what is it? Is it no parking for that area where the bus is turning? Because 3 cars always park there. And then after those 3 cars, there's a sign that says no parking. And then there's a driveway into our Santa Manor. And then after the driveway, it says no parking ends. So it doesn't make sense. It's confusing. If someone can check that out and make the corrections. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, understood. We'll follow up with that. Thank you. What was that? It was, say, Tropicana Manor? Sorry, was that Tropicana Manor? With the location? Sorry, I'm not getting any.
One more time.
So Diamond Head Mackay of the Ala Lilikoi and Ala Ilima intersection.
Okay,
On the corner, you have Tropicana Manor.
Tropicana Manor. Okay, thank you. Perfect.
Board Member Omura is saying is, we need to get rid of that Thursday, Friday sign. That's causing confusion, and just have the no parking. So the buses can make that. I've gotten great feedback on that 1L bus, so thank you for that.
Okay, understood. Thank you. All right.
The runs that you guys were making on the new Skyline at the stadium parking lot. The 2 times I was coming up Salt Lake Boulevard towards Cam Highway, and there was a car coming from Cam Highway down Salt Lake Boulevard the wrong way. One of them turned into the parking lot for the rail. One went straight and didn't know where he was going, so I blocked him and he finally turned around. I got a report of another car coming down from the wrong way down Cam Highway into Salt Lake Boulevard, but I didn't witness that. So we should look at signage up there to alleviate that problem, because someone's gonna get ran over.
Okay, yeah, we'll take a look at that. That's near the,
Okay, sorry. This is bad. Sorry, Brian, can you repeat that?
no, I was just confirming the location along Cam Highway. It's near the, you're saying it's near the rail station, so, yeah, we'll have our Department of Transportation Services look at that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gallagher. City Councilmember Radio Cordero's office.
Hi, good evening, Chair, board members, and community members. First and foremost, Councilmember Cordero did want to extend her congratulations to all of you for your elected term. She also provided a certificate from her to the NCO office. So hopefully you folks received that certificate from her. So my name is Linda Nunes. I am her representative this evening. Our office did provide a written report to the office. And I have also included it here in the chat box for those who are online and want to review it as well. So for the first page, Councilmember included district highlights to the report, which includes the city's Department of Transportation Services. We'll be working on addressing traffic and speeding concerns that were brought up to our office that our office had submitted. And these are the responses so far, as well as we were informed that on Tuesday, next week, Tuesday, July 18th, Belfour will be cleaning up the trash and debris that was left by the homeless encampment on the Arizona Road area. Additionally, Councilmember included budget updates of appropriations for our district, as well as specifically for the Salt Lake area in the first 2 pages. The first page being the appropriations for park improvements, and the second page being for additional budget appropriations for the district, as well as the entire district and specifically Salt Lake, as well as the statewide affordable housing and homeless initiatives. And then on the last page, Councilmember did want to highlight, just for everyone's FYI, the changes to the hours for the Pearl Ridge Satellite City Hall being reverting back to the 9 to 5. Additional information can be found on their website. And the information on the bus routes that affect our district and the adjacent areas to coincide with the operations for Skyline. That concludes my report, and I'm available to take back any questions.
Any questions for the council member? Hearing none. Oh, Mr. Elmore.
Yes, On that Arizona Road issue thing, are you folks planning on cutting down all those branches and stuff, or is that have to go to the mayor's office?
We don't have the answer to that. I can get back to you. I believe it's whoever is in charge of that cleanup. So yeah, I don't want to make assumptions, but what we were told that the company, the Belflor will be cleaning that area up, so we can inquire to see if that is something that they will be doing.
Mr. Yams.
The city and the Navy made an agreement that Ohana will clean up that across from the Salt Lake Library and clean up that mess on the top and cut all of it down and take away all the tents, because I tried to reach out to Ohana, they haven't returned my call. But when they're gonna do that, because it's been a couple months already and nothing's being done, because the homeless is just gonna go back up there. The tents are still up there, rubbish is all over the place, on the top of the hill. And we need to get that done. If you guys can't do it, then I'll get a community effort to go up there, but you guys got trespassing signs. So I guess I gotta get permission from Ohana, but this thing needs to be cleaned up.
I believe, Linda, if I can speak
Yes, please.
on behalf of, so I've been in communication on this topic. Ohana has contracted out, as Linda noted, Belfour. So Belfour is the contractor and they'll be out there to clean up on July 18th. So July 18th, starting at 9 a.m. Any of our members would like to join in the fun? Hopefully we get our t-shirts by then. But thank you so much. Any other questions for the council member? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda, and please share our love with the council member. Thank you for being here this evening. State elected government officials, State Governor Josh Green's representative. We have with us Deputy Director Tammy Lee, and thank you so much, Deputy Director, for your patience and all of you who are in here in this room today and online.
You want to sit right here? Yeah. Sorry.
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the Salt Lake Neighborhood Board. Thank you, Tammy Lee, Deputy Director for the Department of Transportation, and I'm Governor Green's representative. So I usually like to start off with Ke Alaho, the governor's newsletter. And usually I just kind of talk to things that, jumped out at me as something important to the community. And the first thing is that the governor, at the time that this issue was published, signed about 80 bills becoming law. Since then, he probably signed 20 to 30 more. In his newsletter, he signed the gun safety law, which addresses sensitive places where, the concealing carry or carrying of guns is not allowed. It is in the law. You can read, I kind of looked at the law, and hospitals, nursing homes, bars and restaurants, and any place that sells liquor, movies, concerts, professional sporting games, the University of Hawaii and all of the community college campuses and beaches. So I found that very important to mention to the community. Also of interest is the environmental protection law that he passed, and that is House Bill 1183. And what that basically did was it exempted certain beaches that are controlled by the Department of Land and Natural Resources from concession bidding. And concession bidding on state property, government property, just in general, isn't like regular construction bids, which is low bids. Of course, it's sent to or given to the highest bidder. So certain DLNR properties are exempted from this. And One in particular that's in the newsletter is about Haena Beach Park on Kauai. And basically what Haena and that paradigm has shown is that partnerships with the community and nonprofits for lo'i and busing tourists to the beaches, it really helps with destination management. But I thought that was really important. And then for the Department of Transportation, the governor signed into law Senate Bill 1534, and basically it's Act 222. We've been studying a road usage charge as a replacement to the gas tax. In 2019, we went out to the community. We did 14 community meetings and 1 town hall meeting to solicit feedback from the community. And then we published our findings in a report in last August of 2022. So the bill that passed is basically setting the timeline for us to do certain things. July 1st of 2025, right now, in 2019, the legislature passed a bill that puts a $50 surcharge to electric vehicles. Electric vehicles and hybrids, hybrids pay a portion of the gas tax. Electric vehicles don't pay any. When we fill up at the pump, 8 cents of every gallon, 16 cents for every gallon goes to the state highway fund. And this is part of the revenues that help improve the bridges and improve the roadways. So July 1st of 2025, electric vehicles now will opt out of paying the surcharge and instead will pay a road usage charge of 0.08 cents for every gallon, but it's capped at that $50 surcharge. So every mile, sorry. No, every, yes, thank you. Thank you, yes. Oh, okay, thank you, remember, hon. Exactly. And so by June 30th of 2028, electric vehicles will all be enrolled in this road usage charge. And the electric vehicle surcharge goes away. And then before the legislative session of 2026, we issue a implementation plan, and that's for full road usage charge for all vehicles by 2023. So I passed out this update sheet that basically has more information about the road usage charge law, but I can provide a presentation should you be interested. And I'm here for any questions.
Any questions or comments from the board? Any questions or comments from the community? Oh, Ms. Lane John.
Sorry, I know it's last one. How does it come up on this one? Why do people who own electric vehicles pay so little bit tax? I think $50 is very low. I do own a car and I mean, I pay up the yin a year in taxes by weight that, you know, I think that $50 is like a slap on the wrist for a year. I'm just being honest.
Right, right. I mean, it's something that, you know, our legislature and our leaders kind of passed that law for the $50 surcharge.
Ms. Hine.
I just, I would hope that Governor Green, that, you know, not a friend, the last thing is green. So we should think really, and be very environmental friendly with this governor. But we need to encourage more electric, solar, renewable energy use in Hawaii, responsible renewables, rather than discourage it. So the reason why electric cars don't pay as much, there is because we want to be by 2045, no gas vehicles.
Right.
Right. So gas vehicles are contaminating the earth at this point. So that's why they're bearing the heavier burden on it. It's costing our environment more. The carbon footprint of gas vehicles are costing our environment more. However, I think if they want to, you know, tax the part of the electric
car use or, any of those new technologies that come in that get us to our goal in 2045 to become 100% renewable energy. Right now, if we discourage people from going towards the renewable route, we will not meet that goal. So I think we have to temper that with the continual encouragement of those technologies. But maybe it's recycling. Maybe it's the actual disposal of those battery cars. Because I know that that's where electric vehicles can be toxic to the earth, right? That at that time, if there's no recycling of battery components or even solar rooftop, that's where it should be taxed, is on that end. But to kind of discourage more people from getting electric cars and so forth with the goal of 2045 as our 100% renewable rate it's counterintuitive, it's contradicting each other. It's not supporting our end goal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stein. Any other questions or comments from the board? Any questions or comments from the community? Seeing none. Just a quick question on our speed humps. Did we get any approved in our district? Could we take a look? Because I think they're about.
The city.
Yeah, it just depends. So for the state, like I said the last time, we partner with the city. So if there are any that you would like to see, let me know. And we'll, we have a list. I think we installed about 130 of these speed tables or raised crosswalks, and we have 30 or 50 more that are slated to be built or installed. And so let me know.
Okay, Mr. Baird.
What's going on at Pool Road up front? They've changed the lights. We back up down the freeway now. We didn't used to do that. And the sign signal, the light pattern has changed. No, someone's screwing it up. Go back to the old way because the new way's not working because we're backed up all the way down the freeway. It's ridiculous. I don't know what they changed, but something's going on there at the off ramps. So don't look into that because whatever you did's wrong.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Which
Any other?
off ramp. That way,
Check the hospital.
when it goes, they changed the sequence or something.
Okay. Well, thank you, Deputy Director, for being here this evening. We appreciate your patience. We have with us, moving on to State Senator Glenn Mackay, I believe is joining us online. Senator Mackay, I'm going to give you a thumbs up when you're ready to speak. We do have to mute us and turn up the volume. So hold on just a minute and we'll thumbs up when we're ready.
Alrighty, your area lawmakers are making great strides in improving the schools in the district. I'm happy to report that with the help of Representative Ichiyama and Representative Ayu, we got Moanalo High School to help in their efforts to redo their girls' locker room as well as some other athletic facilities. The governor released $750,000 a couple of weeks ago to get that project going. A few lawmakers went to Kalihi to visit this institution called the Pantry. They feed about 800 individuals in Hawaii or Oahu every month. And what was astonishing to me is in their area of service, those with the 96818 zip code were the highest frequenters of going to the pantry. So whether we like it or not, unfortunately, many of our neighbors in the Salt Lake Aliamanu area are having to still get free food from the pantry. So luckily this year we put in a GIA from the state, which is a general grant and aid, to help fund the pantry because they're the ones feeding many of our neighbors. Last week, the Hawaii Public Housing Authority signed a big contract for redoing 9 of their government housing projects throughout the state, one of which is Pu'uvai Momi, right next to the rail station that was talked about earlier. And they are, they signed a contract with this group called Highgate. Many of us here are familiar with Highgate because they're the ones that are redoing or not redoing, building an affordable housing unit over in Salt Lake. And they frequented this meeting in the past. So it's actually kind of good that we have a good relationship with them and we'll continue to work with them on the redevelopment of Pu'uvai Momi. So that's my update for this week. Thanks, Chase.
You're good to go.
I'm wondering about, I'm kind of like, been hearing from my neighbors about education, so I've been bringing this up quite a bit. And, they've said that this public schools no longer really like teach you like auto mechanics, cooking, stuff of that nature, woodworking, those types of things. They dropped that from the curriculum. I told them that they still run it, but I'm not sure. So I just want to find out if if the state of Hawaii public education is still doing these things, like, and then like, auto mechanics, like teaching the kids about computerized cars, that kind of stuff. And like pre-nursing, like medical assistance and so on, that type of thing.
Yeah, so right now there's a little bit less emphasis on vocational training, as you just mentioned, Mr. Omura. So now it's more of a elective course. They still do. I mean, I know they teach wood crafting at Bradford High School. They teach auto mechanics at Moanalo High School. But sometimes in the past, there were requirements. I mean, I went to Moanalo Middle School. I had to take wood shop. Thank goodness I still have my 10 fingers. And I tried to learn how to cook. I'm a terrible cook today. Obviously didn't do well in that class, but you're right. Those classes that in the past were mandated in curriculum are all electives today. So there's been less emphasis on vocational courses and more emphasis on more math and sciences.
Senator. Thank you, Senator Wakai, for joining us this evening. Appreciate your patience. Mahalo. State House Representative Linda Ichiyama.
Hi, can you hear me okay? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much to all of the new neighborhood board members, returning neighborhood board members. Really appreciate your service. We're running a little bit late, so I'll just keep it brief. My newsletter is to remind everybody that we are in hurricane season, and we have a pretty good reminder of that with Storm Calvin heading towards us. Haima has created a series of videos, and some of the flyers that are attached to my community update give you some samples on how to be 2 weeks ready. In case of a natural disaster, it's important that every household is prepared and able to provide themselves with basic essentials such as food, water, and medicine. So to help everybody be 2 weeks ready, please go and watch those videos, and please feel free to share them with your family and friends. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments for the representative? Thank you, Representative Ichiyama, for joining us this evening. Mahalo.
Thank you, Chair.
Congressman is not currently present, and I believe they might be joining us in the near future. Item number 9A, adoption of our
Chair
Thursday, June
Shigemasa.
8, 2023 regular meeting minutes. Did everyone have a chance to review those minutes?
Hello?
Okay, are there any amendments to those minutes? Oh, there's
somebody there. Nathan.
We'll go.
Okay.
See you.
Did I get missed? I didn't hear my name got called. Am I good? I think I'm getting the thumbs up. So real quick, want to make an announcement for a community event. It's the Prince Lakuhio Festival on Saturday. It's a 9 to 4 p.m. at the Frank Fosse Center downtown. That's the tall concrete building that sticks out right in the middle of downtown. Hope to see all of you guys there. It's going to be hybrid, so if you can't attend, you can also participate via Zoom as well. So look forward to seeing all of you guys there. And then my one legislative announcement is that the legislature will not be taking part in a special session this year to override the governor's vetoes. So the 11 vetoes that the governor issued this past week, we won't be overriding any of those. So if there are any legislative initiatives that you want to see taken back up, please contact our office so that we can reintroduce those bills. or any other bills for that matter. If you want to see them reintroduced, we're already working on bills for the next session. So please don't hesitate to contact my office so that we can start working on some of these issues for you guys. That's it. Thank you very much. And congratulations to all the new board members.
Board Member Hein.
Representative, you, just one quick correction. You said the name, the Prince Lot Kuhil Festival. Those are two different people.
You're right.
It's just the Prince Lot Hula Festival.
You're totally right.
I just want for everybody's education, because we do celebrate both of those ali'i, but Lot and Kuhil, we celebrate in March. He has his own holiday in March also. So, but thank you for mentioning that and the celebration of hula that's happening.
You're totally right. I'm a bad native. Sorry. But thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Any other questions, comments for Representative Ayu? Hearing none, thank you, Representative, and thank you for your patience. Moving back to our item number 9A, adoption of our meeting minutes. If there's no amendments proposed at this meeting, the meeting minutes will be filed. Okay, moving on to our community updates. Item number A, Aloha Stadium Authority, they asked that if this meeting was going to be quite long because of organization, I said probably, and so they deferred and said that they'll be at our August meeting.
Okay.
BWS, do we have a representative from Board of Water Supply? Mr. Llanos?
Yes, yes.
Oh.
Okay. That's right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jimmy, and I'll be representing Board of Water tonight. I have no main breaks to report for the month of June, and here are the general water announcements for this month. July is the smart irrigation month, when outdoor water use typically increases. With an abnormally hot and dry summer and below normal rainfall, please do your part to use less water by following these 4 tips. First one is to install a weather-based irrigation controller. This device uses local weather stations to adjust your irrigation system's operating times based on the plant's water needs. You can apply for a rebate of up to $100 from the Board of Water Supply. Our second tip is to install a rain barrel, which collects rainwater and holds it for later use, such as lawns, gardens, or indoor plants. And you can also apply for a $40 rebate from the Board of Water Supply for using the rain barrel. Our third tip is to water before 9 a.m. and after 5 p.m. And our final tip is to inspect your irrigation system for leaks or misdirected or broken sprinkler heads. You can find out more at www.borderwatersupply.com/irrigation, which I'll put in the chat, and I'll be happy to answer any more questions that anyone has.
Hearing none. Thank you, Jimmy, for your patience and for joining us this evening. Mahalo.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Gonzalez with Heart.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, perfect. Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Marissa Gonzalez. I'm with the Public Involvement Department for the Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transportation, here for the rail transit project. I would like to thank the Salt Lake Board members and the community for your ongoing support for the rail project and provide you with a brief update. As you are already aware, and as mentioned earlier by the mayor's representative, Deputy Director Brian Gallagher with DDC, the first operating segment of the Honolulu Rail Transit Project opened on Friday, June 30th. I would like to mention that HART is the city agency tasked with the construction of the rail transit system. The City Department of Transportation Services, DTS, manages the daily operations and maintenance of the rail transit system. The best way to stay up to date with HART construction updates and project information is through the project website at honolulutransit.org. If you would like to submit a written question or inquiry, HART also has a project email. That's info@honolulutransit.org. We also have a 24/7 project hotline that could be reached at 808-566-2299. Another informative tool that we use to provide information is our weekly e-blasts. These e-blasts provide a quick snapshot into the latest news with the projects. I encourage everyone to sign up for our weekly e-blast to receive new information every Monday afternoon. In regards to Skyline, to questions about Skyline rail operations for general transit information, including how Skyline operates, fares, HoloCard, the integration of the bus and Skyline, and schedule information, we encourage people to visit the DTS website at honolulu.gov/Skyline. You can also call the customer service telephone at 808-848-5555 or write and send an email to skyline@honolulu.gov. Thanks for your time. I'm now open to any questions that you may have about Hart's construction.
The board member Ayung Chong, followed by Ms. Romor.
So I just have a comment to do with that website. I find that website not very friendly user if you're using it on a mobile device, not a computer. Before the rail started, I tried to look up the 1L route, for example, just to find out where exactly through Salt Lake it was gonna run through and into downtown. And there was really nothing other than a line showing from the rail all the way into Hawaii Kai, just a line. It wasn't like saying, okay, we stop here, we stop here, we stop here. It's, it is a new line of service and it's, kind of confusing when it doesn't really tell you where exactly it goes. It just shows from the rail station to Hawaii Kai.
Right. You're talking about the Skyline website, correct? For DTS? On the mobile phone? Did I hear that correctly? Hello? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I would suggest just calling Skyline to get your information. Call them directly at the customer service telephone. It's up and active. The number again is 808-848-5555. You can also, for information regarding HoloCard, any information for that, you could also visit www.holocard.net. But I would suggest just continue checking Skyline. You can also send them an email, again, to skyline@honolulu.gov. And I know that they're checking that regularly. Hopefully that helps.
I have actually, it's two questions. Concerning the monies, has rail monies been released to pay for construction of the rail from Middle Street on eastwards? And if not, can you let us know when that happens? Thank you.
In regards to that question, thank you for that question. I cannot provide an answer for that today, but I will take down that question and get back to you at the next meeting or sooner.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Marissa, for joining us this evening. Have a great and blessed evening. If you do have an answer before then, you can send it to the neighborhood commission office. And the neighborhood commission office can forward that to the neighborhood boards.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
We'll move on to our next item on the agenda, which is our military partners. We have our military and U.S. naval facilities. With us, we have Chuck Anthony, and we have Commander Pratt. Lieutenant Commander Pratt.
That's all right, Dad. I'm just kind of side saddle a little bit. Hey, Chair Shigemas and board members. We submitted a full report. We had quite a few items, but just for the sake of brevity, tonight. I'll just go over a couple items and then take your questions. Today we conducted a large scale, what we call a spill drill for Red Hill. Basically, it was what would happen if you had a worst case scenario? How would the Navy be able to respond to that? And so that exercise took place both yesterday, but primarily today. It was observed and evaluated by the Department of Health and the Environmental Protection Agency. I don't want to steal their thunder, but I think everybody was impressed with how well the exercise went. Wanted to also talk about the Joint Task Force Red Hill announced yesterday that it remains on track to begin the defueling of the fuel storage facility starting on October 16th. Working with regulators, the JTF Red Hill received conditional approval from the EPA and the DOH to begin its major milestone, which is draining 480,000 gallons of fuel in the 4 surge tanks, which is slated to begin this coming Monday. Then the Navy and the Defense Logistics Agency, in partnership with the EPA again, are inviting members of the public to attend the planning meeting for the formation of the Red Hill Bulk Fuel Storage Community Representation Initiative to be held July 27th at the Aliamanu Middle School from 5 to 7 p.m. Community Representation Initiative is being established in direct response to the feedback received from the community through the administrative consent order and the expressed desire for increased involvement in activities related to the Red Hill tank closure. And then just real quickly, I believe we're still on the agenda to have our homeless representative do a presentation in August. Is that correct? Okay, we'll make sure that we're here. And then with that, I'll be more than happy to take any questions that you may have.
Any questions or comments for the Navy? Sorry.
What was that event on the 27th again? It's a Red Hill. Sorry.
It's a community representation initiative. So basically, it's getting feedback on the survey that was done by Nakapuna.
22nd or 27th?
27th, 2/7.
Mr. Gower, Vice Chair Gower.
I just want to clarify the date. You guys are on track, October 16th.
That is correct.
Any other questions for the Navy? Any questions from the community? Seeing none, thank you so much, Chuck.
You're most welcome.
Appreciate you being here and your indulgence in staying with us this late.
Not at all. My pleasure.
Take the day off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, David
If
said.
only I could.
And we have Lieutenant Commander Pratt, our U.S. Army representative. I wore my Army Red Spooner shirt today.
Okay. Oop. Take out that cable. There we go. Good evening, board members, chair. Thanks for having me. It's good to see everyone. Recognize that the response for the signage hasn't been addressed yet. I missed last board meeting. But the information has been passed up. It was passed up a couple of days after the May's board meeting. And I will follow up and see exactly where the effort is on that and get back accordingly on where we are for the sign that's over there by the backside of AMR. Okay. I have one thing to put out for the community. So there's a July job fair that's being held on the 25th at Capole High School. It's going to run from 8:30 to 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. There will be provisional jobs offered on location, and the jobs will be in the areas of, let's see, golf, bowling, food services, and child and youth services. I know it's not necessarily in our area, but there are some training events going on island during the month of July that will impact with noise and predominantly noise during these events. So let's see, we are 13th, so running from the 24th to the 28th, there's live fire training in the vicinity of Schofield Barracks. And also we have some demolition training day and night on the 21st of July. A combined arms live fire on the 22nd and the 23rd. Then also there'll be some helicopter rappelling training on the 25th of July in the vicinity of East Range and Schofield Barracks. So there will be some transport back and forth during daytime hours with the helicopters. So you might see increase in noise pollution and also just helicopter traffic during those times. So July is pretty busy. It's a busy time for the training, and there will be some helicopter traffic and noise pollution. That is all I have for the group. If there's any questions, I can answer questions. Yes.
Godfrey.
I think it would be a good idea if, I like that you gave a list of all these activities in July, but you realize that by the time this goes on to Malelo, it's too late. So if you could bring us stuff for next month, then,
Yes.
okay.
Yes, Ayong Chang.
So, I brought this up before and I felt that it still hasn't been fixed, but it's still a problem. So Radfield Drive and the streets like Valkenburg, coming up from Nimitz, going up towards Navy Exchange, and the housing on Radford Drive by the golf course. So all those streets basically in military housing, and the golf course and Moanalo shopping center area. And then by the federal fire station, that street that comes up, it runs along going up towards Navy Exchange. I don't know the name of that street, I'm sorry. I have brought up the issue with the lights being very dark in certain areas. It's still dark. I brought that up over a year ago.
Streets like the jurisdiction.
That'll be the name. Yeah, we could forward that concern to Victor, Naval Facilities, and maybe he can.
I think you actually addressed it once before, but.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Any questions or comments from the community? Thank you so much, Lieutenant Commander Pratt.
Thank you.
You're a commander in our eyes. Thank you so much for your time. We're gonna defer the Nakapuna LLC, Environmental Protection Agency, Mokulele Airlines, and government agencies and schools at this time because I don't see a representative present. Our unfinished new business, this is anytime a member on any of our ongoing projects would like to make a comment, questions, concerns, to be brought up at our next meeting for discussion by the board. Hearing none, I'd like to make a few announcements before we adjourn. Oh. Trying to get you out of here. I'm sorry, Mr. Baird. Mr. Baird.
Hopefully, widening project. When it first started, we had a lady who used to come out and talk to us and give us updates. We haven't seen her in like 5 months.
I actually talk to her every month. But I will tell her. It's a Dr. Trish Watson. Dr. Trish Watson. I will ask her to be present at our next meeting and we'll give her some time to give us an update. She's actually the one behind the grass getting cut. She's the one behind the roadway solution as well. She's the person behind Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
I'd like to announce, there are a few other things that came in the mail that I just got today from the neighborhood commission office. We did miss today a liquor commission meeting Thursday, July 13th at 4 p.m. At the liquor commission site for Qantas Airways Limited on their liquor license. But that's at the airport. So I don't know if now that it is in our purview, they're required to let us know. Let's see. This one, you may be interested, is Thursday, August 17th. The Liquor Commission will be meeting in regards to the liquor license for JJKOO Hawaii, which is practicing or under the name Honolulu Country Club. So this will be Thursday, August 17th, 2023, 4 p.m. Pacific Park Plaza, 711 Kapilani Boulevard. So if you're interested, we'll also make an announcement at next month's meeting because our meeting will be before then. Lastly, we have a meeting coming up this end of the month, July 26th. This is with the Honolulu Planning Commission. And this is relating to the rezoning of land situated at Halawa. So the rezoning of the land situated at Halawa, which includes the Aloha Stadium Transit-Oriented Development Plan and District. So you are interested in joining that meeting, you can join via WebEx, and I'll have the neighborhood commission send this out to all of our members. Other than that, I'd like to thank the board for their indulgence. Had we started at 6:30, the time now would only be 9:12. So looking forward to that time. Announcements, the next Aliamanu Salt Lake Foster Village Airport Neighborhood Board number 18 will be meeting on Thursday, August 10th, 2023, at this location, So at 6:30, excuse me, I said 7 p.m. It'll be 6:30 because we voted on that today. So videotape board meetings are aired on Lelo Channel 49 on the fourth Saturday of the month at 9 p.m. and on the second and fourth Friday of the month at 7 a.m. And being that there's no further business to discuss, this meeting is now adjourned.
This suggestion, since we're all here, can we take a group